Hello and thank you for joining us on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. I'm Ayodele Uzubakum. Today on the program, Nigeria's budget of growth raises doubt amid high debt and low incomes as Senate President advises President Buhari to scale down borrowing and seek other funding sources. PDP NEC ratifies the Gwayin Committee report on zoning as Atiku insists Nigeria doesn't need to zone presidency, says zoning will not stop the country's problems. On our midweek edition of Journalist Hangout is the super honest woman who demands more recognition from government, and later on the show, outrage over Super Eagles' defeat at home by Central African Republic as Green Eagles legendary Sonny Oyeruka goes home. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Paul Dada, while Musbah Razak will join us later on sports. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. Let's begin with a delicate issue. Shocking, unbelievable, and mindless is the best to describe the fraud-rocking pension administration in Nigeria. According to the Director of Operation at the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Abdulkarim Chikor, the anti-graft agency has convicted pension frauds to the tune of 157 billion naira. Julie, pension, people that they've worked day and nights and they want to secure their future through this contributing some of their earnings in that fund. People will still have the mind to go and pay for it. 157 billion naira.
Yes. You know, the contributory pension thing is recent development. It was Obasanjo regime that came up with the idea, just like the health insurance scheme. His regime also came up with it, and I think those were some of the best things that Obasanjo did during his time. Because when you come up with ideas that outlast you, people will remember you for those initiatives. The pensions that we are talking about in this case are pensions due to people who have served their country for the mandatory 35 years and are supposed to have retired to just, it's not so much money that these people are paid, just a fraction of what they used to earn. But what we find is a situation in which those people are made to suffer. Some of them will be told to come and verify their papers and all that. They'll do biometric verification. They will be sick.
Under the sun.
They will be in the sun for hours. Those who had served their country. We now make them to suffer. Some of them would, at the end of the day, still not be able to collect these pensions, because individuals are stolen what should go to them. You find in some cases these rogues in the civil service doing what you call grafting, taking the documents of people who are deceased pensioners and now substituting, so that what should normally go to a pensioner who is alive and well, they have replaced this document and made it look like that person is no longer alive. They would now be earning what should go. That's why you see the other day, some years back, when some pensioners were arrested, some of them, they found billions of naira in their accounts. Some even lodged billions of naira in their homes. You know, kept billions of naira in their homes. So this is the problem. We've got to do our best to bring ICT into our pensions management system. The more we reduce the human influence in the running of the pension system, the more we will be able to achieve transparency, accountability. But if we don't allow ICT to take proper route, all these rogues will continue to steal pension money. Look at the one that happened in Sokoto. Even a woman, the EFCC Sokoto office got hold of two or three pension fraudsters, including a woman, and they had stolen billions. So at the end of the day, in fact, one of the EFCC staff was telling me that even those pensioners, when they came to their office, they didn't have money to go back home. They were so broke. These are primary school teachers. The little that should go to them, you are stealing. So I'm in full support of the EFCC in its desire to stamp out this pension fraud. It's such a big problem. My own father and my mother, they are pensioners. At a point, I told my mom that, why do you keep suffering yourself going from Ilorin to Lokoja? But you know you can't convince them.
Yes.
They believe it's their entitlement. Yes. It's their entitlement. You can't tell your old man now, don't go there. At least the trouble is too much for the money. No. He believes it's his entitlement and must take it. But we must not continue to let them suffer in this manner.
Yiga, Paul, you can see now that if we have to do like this over and over, this has been happening not 1 year, not 2 years. It's been for a long time. But all of a sudden, we keep arresting people, prosecuting them, but still people still have access to these funds and they still make livelihood with it.
Nigeria is a country where you get punished for serving your country meritoriously after 35 years in service. So for all your efforts, for all the years you have put into service, so you get punished because some people are decided to, steal what belongs to you. I think what we need, like BKO said, it's to see how to plug the holes, because the holes in that sector are so wide and it's so easy for people to manipulate. Bringing in ICT is important. Yeah, prosecution is very, very, very important, but we need to also find a way of stopping some of these things. Then another thing is, even some of the people that are managing, I'm talking of political office holders, there are state governments that are not making their own contributions into the scheme. There are state, you are supposed to contribute from your income. Your employer is supposed to make contribution. Some state governments are not contributing.
Okay, that was the contributory pension scheme.
Yes.
And the ones managed by these pension administrators, those ones, these civil servants are not able to steal those funds.
I'm talking generally now. I'm talking about the whole pension.
Yes.
I'm talking about the whole pension issue.
Okay.
So we need to look at it holistically, not just this one. We have pension problem in the country, and it's something that we must nip in the bud.
I imagine civil servants making their own contribution and there are states refusing to make contributions.
Exactly.
There are some states even around us
where
we speak here. It's happening.
That is what I'm saying.
It's so shameful.
It's wrong.
Okay, let's talk some politics now. Now, the former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Atahiru Jega, has denied nursing any presidential ambition. At an event in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, Professor Jega and other discussants, including our own Babajide Kolade Otitoju, identified leadership as the major bane of Nigeria. TVC News' Ibrahim Alege has the story.
I don't think that
he was once the head of the nation's election umpire, but he recently joined a political party. Some envisaged that he was preparing to take over from President Muhammadu Buhari. But at this event in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, Professor Atahiru Jega clears the air on the rumor.
I have no ambition. I know I'm a Muslim and I practice my religion and I have faith in God. I know that there is nothing that God cannot do. So I leave what God can do to God. But I have no ambition. I've never told anybody I want to be president. but I want to contribute to bring positive changes to our politics.
Discussants at this event cut across politics, economy, human capital development, and media, including the group controller, current affairs, TVC News, Babajide Koladi Otitoju. They identify leadership as the major bane of Nigeria. They stressed the need for Nigerians to be mindful of the type of people they throw up for leadership positions.
The need to provide education to the young ones that are coming, or even to provide employment opportunities to our youth. All of this, when you look at them, we have very, very serious challenges. And when you look at the governments, whether at the local level or at the state level or at the federal level, a substantial majority of them are actually clueless in terms of how they can address these fundamental challenges which the country faces.
Because if we can't make the nation better for our people, of what use is the fact that we are in power? When the average politician gets to ask himself such questions, he will be inclined to do the right thing. But as someone said, Nigeria is a buffet. And he said it's at a buffet that you know who is really greedy. Because they will pack into their plates portions that they cannot finish.
Though Nigeria has been described in many quarters as a failing nation, discussants here believe that a lot can still be salvaged if Nigerians are truly ready to make the country work.
Beyond politics, I am preferring an urgent elite consensus so that this cup may pass over us. I am proposing that we drop everything we are doing right now, roll up our sleeves and chip in every way we can. I am also suggesting strongly we look at the strength, the passion, the energy, the innocence, and the tech savvy of our young people. Is our case hopeless? No. And I want us to borrow from the, Arab nations. It was not all Arab nations that were good. So let's take the Arab nations as Nigeria. But one country just came out and said, I want to be different. And that's UAE. And can Kwara State become the UAE of Nigeria? Can Kwara indigenous make up their mind? We want a new day, we want a new state, a brand new state that other people can come and copy? It is very simple.
The Nigerian young people constitute 70% of the population of our country. That's a strength that our young people are reluctant to use. We are only interested in playing music, Burna Boy, Two-Face, all of them. Whiskey, Wizzo, that's what we like. Get involved in politics. What is your future? And with this strength that you have, coupled with women too should get more interested, because women are easier to mobilize on election days than men. So if we get involved more in politics, it will be difficult for the youth to be brushed aside.
The event was conveyed to chart a new vision for Kwara politics and indeed Nigeria's political future. Ibrahim Alige, TVC News, Ilorin.
That event was held in Ilorin, the capital of Kwara State. Judy, shed more light to what happened.
Yes, the theme of the inaugural lecture organized by the Kwara Visioners. The Kwara Visioners are made up of a good number of people who championed the Otoge campaign back then, led by Akogun Ipo. And what they are saying is, for so long, we've not had a consistent, solid leadership. Why? Because even the leadership recruitment module is defective. People get into power, they get into office not prepared for it, lacking the capacity to deliver the goods. So they are saying, the whole idea is, how do we have a succession of good leaders? Good leaders are usually product of consistent interest in the growth and development of their communities, not just at the national level, but at even the micro level, maybe the ward where you stay, you see evidence of leadership qualities. So we are saying people need to identify such people, and then there ought to be greater mentorship than we are seeing. A lot of the big politicians are simply interested in themselves and the members of their families. They need to mentor the young people so that they can rise and then take over from the present crop of leaders. So that is the essence. The more we produce good leaders, the better for our nation. And that's why it pleased me that the Kwara Visionaries came up with this idea and to share the stage with a distinguished academic like Professor Atahiru Jega was really something of tremendous joy to me. And by the time I spoke after him, and he said, Babajide, I like your tempo, and it's an honor to be on the same stage with you. And I said,
that's big.
You that I've always idolized, to now tell me that he felt it was an honor to share the stage with me. I felt like that was the happiest day of my life, because this is a Nigerian that I've always respected, for his erudition, his brilliance as a political scientist.
Election from opposition to
and even innovations, bringing innovations into our electioneering process. So Jega is a Nigerian hero, and I was truly proud. I'm grateful to the Kwara Visionaries for giving me the opportunity to be at that program and to learn from him.
When you look at Professor Jega actually came out to say, look, I'm not interested in that #1 seat. A lot of people felt that since he went to go and join the PRP, that he might be gunning for the #1 seat. And I felt somehow when I got the news that, this man wants to bring down everything he has worked for with this singular act, because knowing that, look, he might not get the favor of Nigerians, the PRP.
Well, the guy is a Nigerian. He has a right to contest for the highest seat in the land, but he has said he's not interested. This is a country where we kill people before they die, or we ascribe ambition to them, ambition that they don't have. But we should be more interested in, and I believe that is one of the things even Professor Jega talked about, is the integrity of the process. I know he harped on electronic transmission, in his speech at this event, and we should be looking at the integrity of the process, and how to make sure that people really, the will of the people is eventually what turns out. And let me say this: you see, the problem of Nigeria is not only bad leadership; we also have bad following. You see, youths. We know that youth constitutes the larger percentage of the population of Nigeria. Youth should stop making themselves, foot soldiers for unscrupulous
thugs.
Yeah, thugs. Look, these people don't like you. These people won't use their own children. Probably some of their children are abroad. Yes. They use you. They give you how much. Probably by the time they share the money, 10,000, you go to the club and drink whatever.
Some of them lose their lives.
You think your problems are over
in the process.
You think your problems are over. So what is important is, for once, let's not this country shouldn't implode on over our head. We should let to do things.
That's what Jega was saying, that
we
all must jump in. That if things get worse than this, we will all suffer.
A lot of
all suffer. Whether you are a sycophant or you're simply benefiting from the status quo,
I'm telling you,
things must not degenerate.
You will suffer.
Like security, for example, must not degenerate beyond this level.
Exactly.
Honestly. We are already now rated. We are now rated the third most insecure country in the world. And look at the countries that we are in the same group with.
Sure, it's
Afghanistan and Iraq, where everyone knows that even Iraq is getting better.
Libya.
And the Afghans. No, Libya was rated better than us.
I'm even talking of now. The way the country is at the moment.
So we just have to all jump in, play our part, in achieving a better Nigeria, the Nigeria of our dreams. We can't afford to leave Nigeria worse than this for our children. They won't forgive us.
That'll be terrible.
They won't forgive us.
All right. Most times, connecting economic figures and realities on the ground can be troubling. President Muhammadu Buhari has presented a record 16.39 trillion naira spending plan for the 2022 budget, which he called Budget of Economic Growth and Sustainability. But experts are not convinced of the growth in the economy due to high debts and low incomes in the country. Meanwhile, Senate President Ahmed Lawal has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to scale down borrowing and seek other sources of funding the budget. Jide, this the last time we're said to be owing 35 trillion naira.
It's growing. It's growing. At the end of the year, it certainly will exceed that figure. And from even the budget that the president read, he's already told us that more than 5 trillion of this 16.39 trillion will be sourced through loans. So we already have this plan to finance this budget with more borrowings. And I think that for the first time, the Senate President mustered the courage to say, Mr. President,
Scale down.
Scale down.
Nigerians have been telling him that, look,
you know,
this thing
has been, we transited the, what do you call that thing?
Saraki.
No, as in the
Recession?
economic depression,
Recession.
because of the recession, because of the budget we collected.
Because of the loans.
Finance.
Because of the loans.
I mean, the loans, sorry.
There are implications for consistent borrowing. You have to service your debt. And how do you service your debt? How do you find the money? It's either you push yourself to even borrow money to service your debt, or you dip your hands into your foreign reserves to pay for those debts, because the debts are denominated in foreign currency. You are not going to pay them with the naira, you know. So right now, we keep borrowing to fund infrastructure projects, but people are saying, look, there are other ideas by which we can deliver infrastructure projects. How about getting the private sector involved? BOT, for example, build, operate, and transfer.
Yes.
That will save you.
Lots of funds.
Yes, that will save you having to go. But government wants to award contracts at every turn. It's not in all cases that you must award contracts. Get the private sector involved. If the economic climate, the business environment is conducive enough, investors will come in. They will come in, get involved, and our economy will improve. But right now, that's not what we are seeing. Foreign direct investment is going down rapidly. It's going down rapidly.
Paul, when you look at this budget, and when you go into the detail and you look at the number, the amount we are going to use to service debts, you discover that we might not be able to even raise half of the money for that budget.
Honestly, it's scary. Ordinarily, borrowing will not have been a problem. I mean, if you are borrowing to fund capital projects, but the problem we are having is we are using 72, I think almost 80% of our revenue to service debt. And our revenue generation capacity is very, very low. So people are now talking about alternatives. What about cutting down the wastages in our in the system? What about even sale of unproductive assets we have? You know, what about
those assets that are running away?
Exactly. What about
Abuja?
you got it? What about improving upon our ability to generate taxes. You know, all of this. What about the BOT BKO spoke about, the build, operate, and transfer strategy that we can adopt? So we have this serious problem. We can't sustain this. We can't sustain it.
Okay, I have my first caller. Kunle is calling us from Kaduna State. Thank you for joining us, Kunle.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Kunle.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ford and Mr. Vitaloju.
Good afternoon.
All right, go ahead, please.
Mr. Vitaloju, I will also be happy the day I meet with you and I sit on the same table with you, like we stand with together. You are a very wonderful person, and God bless you, sir.
Okay.
Yes, I want to contribute on the former topic about youth participation. And I think we should just stop to defend ourselves in Nigeria. Honestly speaking, we cannot be saying over and over without looking at the youth cost. I want to ask you a question. How many youth do we find in ministry at age of 40 that are directors? Or we just want to bring them from private sector because we are developing how we are doing this, we want to go and become president. If there is a mayor, if there is a rule, there is a regulation that a youth at age of 21, you are going to be in ministry, working for government, by the time you spend like 14, 15 years, gather that such experience, then you are fit to become Nigeria president. Nigeria president is not like local government chairman. Either we like it or not, all over the nation now, Lagos, everywhere, that are chairman, but they can't be president. President of Nigeria is not an easy task. That is why we still have all these old people coming back to come and be president. So I want us to look at something drastic and not that youth. As far as I'm concerned, Nigeria president is more complex than you just saying youth should come and do. Let's start from ministry. So I want to be, okay, I'm like early 40, I want to become Nigeria president. I will now sit here, we have 60, 70, 80 that are even dyed their head at the ministry to come and become a director. So it's not going to be easy like that. That is my own perspective. And also on borrowing, I don't know what you want government to do. We are not making money. We are not paying tax. Our revenue base are not expanding. And we said government should not borrow money. And to me, I don't know how we're going to do it. If we are to be fair to this government, I think borrowing is the way. And borrowing, to me, is not the problem. But what are we borrowing upon?
Exactly.
Thank you. That's it.
This is what we always hear, that borrowing is not a problem. What people fail to realize is, in our own case, we don't have enough revenue to repay these debts. We don't have enough. All of the revenue projections that we do are never met. I've seen what the federal government says, that it expects the total federally collectible revenues to be 17.7 trillion in 2022. 17.7 trillion. We are watching to see whether those 63 revenue generating agencies or the federal government, whether they can come up with this sum. The reason some of us preach against relentless borrowing is because you must tie debt ratio to revenue ratio. Because where are you going to get the money? You may then need to borrow money again to pay your debt, or go and take from the foreign reserve. So it should not be debt to GDP ratio. Debt to GDP ratio in the case of Nigeria is deceptive. It should be debt to revenue ratio. Do you have the capacity to repay? The revenue will tell you if you have the capacity to repay. If you are servicing debt with more than 90% of generated revenue, the signals are there that, look, this is not a good thing. But Nigerians should know that at a point we have to stop. Those encouraging government to continue to borrow without thinking that at a point you've got to stop. I don't know how they are thinking, but I've had Akinwumi of ADB warning us that we should not get into another debt pit. I've had Okonjo-Iweala say the same thing. I've had Even former CBN
You have to do
governors
negotiation.
say the same. Are we going to say all of those people don't know what they are doing?
But the Minister of Finance is saying we will continue to borrow.
No,
Otherwise,
it's dependent on the National Assembly. Now that the
National
Senate President, at least when the Senate President said that thing, it's for a reason. His conscience must have told him that, look, at a point we have to stop this. So when he told the President that, you got to look at other sources. If the National Assembly says, Mr. President, we can't approve this payment, this request, they will have to look inwards. Remember when the Senate stopped the Kaduna State Governor, El-Rufai, from taking that loan when, what's his name? Shehu Sani championed that.
Yes.
They couldn't take it.
Blocked it.
They couldn't take. So the finance minister can say, we need to take this loan. We need to take this loan. But if the National Assembly says no, and I've seen some members of the National Assembly complain bitterly.
Yes.
That is the leadership that is encouraging this. Every time you take that loan, you are postponing the evil day for the oncoming generation.
Yes,
look at Kaduna now. Look at Ogun State. Why are they unable to do roads? Because previous administrations were taking loans, were taking bonds and all that. Now there is something called irrevocable standing order. As you collect your own share of the distributable revenue from the center,
just zap it.
they take.
No story.
So you see, you think that you pay from source. So you have very little left to sink boreholes. You have very little left to sink boreholes, to provide the infrastructure. You are now limited to simply paying salaries and doing just a few roads here and there. At the end of the day, you will fail as a government. So those doing it, it is the oncoming regimes that will suffer.
Exactly.
Somebody told me that even in Bayelsa, that the current administration is suffering that now. Because the previous administration was taking loans anyhow. It has implications. Every time you take loans, you must remember that you must pay back. And so we must bear that in mind.
I have Abubakar from Kaduna State. Thank you for joining us, Abubakar.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead, please, Abubakar.
Yes, sir. I want to comment on this budget of trillions. You see, it's a good omen, we know, and it's like they want to make something good. But my problem is this loan, they are saying they want to take it to at least complete the gap or to augment the deficit in the budget. What about the money some people stole? Because we have seen them, NIA, where we have seen dollars they remove. Where is those dollars? We have seen those people that this EFCC has said they have stolen billions of naira. Where are all those money? Look at what they have stolen now in this pension fund. Where are all those money? Why?
Thank you. When you hear all this money, they're not enough to. They're not like what we are talking about.
Ideally, you see, countries of the world in the post-COVID era, they are scaling down their budgets.
Yes.
Their expectations, they are narrowing their expectations. In our own case, we want it to be higher.
Why?
Just tell me, all the countries, they are based on current realities that COVID-19 has damaged business. Yes. So they are scaling down. The size of the budget, they are scaling it down to reality.
It's not the amount that matters.
We just want it to continue to be high.
We want it to come out. Did we record 50% implementation in the last one?
50% collection of revenue. Let's say, did we achieve 100% collection of projected revenue? That's a very easy question to answer. So before you have to realize that COVID has damaged businesses, economies are not doing. Yes, you know, even France went into recession now. Different countries. So in the present reality, you can't be coming up with humongous budget. You must work according to the reality on ground. I would have expected that this year's budget will be in the region of maybe 10 billion, for example. You know?
And
that way our expectations will match the realities on the ground.
Doesn't have to be trillion.
16.39 trillion.
And then transparency. There must be transparency. How the details of the spending, you know, we sometimes you don't even know how these the details of how they are spent. And there are also some funny figures you tend to get in the budget. For example, I got a report of Sarah asking the president to cut down the 26 billion naira in this current budget. That budget is for just building the presidential wing of the medical center, travels and meals and all of that. So they are even asking that, look, Mr. President, cut this down. Cut this down. So we have to be very, very careful what we do, you know.
Okay, we hope Mr. Nnemeka Obiareri will join us. My producer is still trying to work on it to look at the implication of the budget as presented by Mr. President to the National Assembly last week. So ultimately, when you start seeing those items, you discover that some items were embedded in it last year, 2 years ago. We still have the same thing here. You know,
Yes,
furniture, photocopier, the same thing. That's
I don't see any reason for us to be buying all those exotic vehicles every year. Normally, if I had my own vehicle, I would expect, and it came brand new, I would expect that I'll be able to use it for 3 years at least before start having problems.
First 4 years.
So when you start seeing
Brand new.
Money spent, money budgeted for photocopier, budgeted for generators, budgeted for SUVs and the rest of them, you just ask yourself what's going on. We need to. One of the criticisms that people have come up with about our leaders is that they are not prepared to live in consonance with the present day realities. People are going through
Don't want to cut costs.
Yes, in our country. Look at National Assembly, for example. People have said, look, why don't we do something? We ought to have a unicameral legislator. It's been done in Senegal, for example. People will say, oh, of course, you can't compare Senegal to Nigeria. Well, that's a country trying to solve a problem. The cost of maintaining bureaucracy in Nigeria is extremely high. And it's not sustainable. God will spare our lives. Many years down the line, we will tell this story. It's not sustainable. The way we are going, some of these things that we are seeing are simply not sustainable. I cannot be extremely optimistic to see the truth and not say it. It's not sustainable. We are too wasteful. We are too extravagant beyond the resources that we have. We need to focus on energizing the SMEs, energizing the real sector, because the real sector is the engine of growth for any country. What we are reading about is not cheering. We are hearing that even some of them are scrapping some production lines because of lack of access to forex. Forex is extremely difficult to access. Someone was telling me that he needed to import. That right now it is at 600 naira to $1 that they actually get some of their goods from China, because they are not prepared to wait. You know, so I don't know how businesses will survive in our country with that exchange rate at the level that it is. Because how many people can access the official window?
Well, in this National Assembly, we have to commend this National Assembly and Mr. President. Now, this is October, they presented the budget, and hopefully by December, the National Assembly would have finished working on it, and we are back to the January cycle. I think the last 2 years now. Now, what I'm saying is that I expected at any given time the National Assembly members to be questioning the implementation of the previous budget before moving on.
Exactly. I think they've started doing that. I just hope that they will be that courageous. You know, like we
the
mentioned.
Senate President talked about it.
Yes, we mentioned what the Senate President said concerning scaling down our borrowings. I remember that this same Senate President a few months ago said we have to be. You know, the money it was the President was asking for the other time that translated into how much in naira? I think 3.2 trillion naira. You know. The Senate President was saying, okay, it's a burden. Borrowing is a burden. He said it's a burden we have to bear. But now he has changed. He's singing another tune now, which is good because he has seen the reality. I hope that
some of his members are complaining even publicly.
Of course.
Yes.
So you have to question, number one, why were you not able to meet up with this? I mean, why was the budget was not able to perform at least beyond the level it has performed? How did you spend the money? Give us details of your spend. Let us even know what to spend money on. You understand? How do you plug the wastages? And all of these are the questions people should be asking.
All of those revenue agencies that are refusing to even some of them are deliberately refusing to remit. The problem is a big problem.
They ask you, why are heads not rolling?
That's fraudulent.
Why are heads not rolling? Who are the people heading these agencies?
Do you know that some of those revenue generating agencies are even hiding revenue? The National Assembly has even discovered that they hide revenue. And they go ahead without permission to spend even from the revenue that they have been able to source. You've got to get appropriation, get the permission to spend. You have no right to simply because you generate so amount of money, then spend the money the way you like. Your budget, some of them even spend above
their budget.
Their threshold.
I have Bob from Plateau State. Thank you for staying with us, Bob.
Yeah, good afternoon, my brother. How are you?
Good afternoon, Bob. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you. Let me first of all appreciate Brother Jide.
Thank you.
Brother Jide, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, concerning the issue of this project something, I think to me, is it not high time? Is it not high time we start cultivating habit of? Is it not high time we start cultivating habit of
what?
Giving and not borrowing? It's high time we should start cultivating the habit of being a giver and not a taker. Or being a giver and not a borrower.
You can't give what you don't have.
We should develop that attitude. So develop attitude of a giver and not a borrower.
We used to give, but now we can't afford to be that Father Christmas. We don't have.
We were Father Christmas to our neighbors and other.
Times have changed.
All those frontline states. Nigeria spends so much on them. You know, it's unfortunate now that.
We are the borrowers.
I saw some time ago the VP wrote a letter to the National Assembly asking for a loan of $1.5 billion. And I was $1.5 billion. That's not a lot of money. But we still have to go get it from somewhere. You know, it's just I think too that this coming year the National Assembly needs to work harder on those revenue agencies. They can do much better than they are doing. A lot of them are greedy, they are sabotaging the system.
To hold them.
Yes, so they need to do a lot more work. Some agencies have illegally opened bank accounts bypassing the Treasury single account. The idea of the Treasury single account is to make sure that everything revenue collected on behalf of government goes to one account managed by the central bank. But these guys are opening accounts
Circumventing
separate account.
that process.
Dozens of accounts were discovered by the ICPC. So we need to pay greater attention to them because they can do much better than they are doing. If we can block some of the avenues through which the resources are leaking, I'm confident that we can do much better than this. We'll be able to free up some funds, at least to do some of our projects, instead of simply borrowing all over the day and passing the payment to generations unborn.
So,
I might just add that the National Assembly should not just be seen as a dog that barks and can't bite. Because we've seen situations where National Assembly will invite people, you understand, to come and explain what is happening in their ministry or their agency, and they will just give an excuse. And then there is no...
They have something to hide.
They have something to hide, and they will not come, and nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. I think the National Assembly...
The whistle threat, and we will see that.
Exactly. There should be a way that the National Assembly can compel people to come.
No, they can. They can issue an arrest.
Yes, they can do a bench warrant. Yes. Why is it not happening? How many times have you seen that happen? What exactly is happening?
You can order the IG to bring someone.
Now the question: will the IG obey?
Of course.
No, so it depends.
Of course.
It depends. No, yes, it should.
I've seen them issue it to a minister, and the minister to hurriedly come.
But this is
during the Jonathan era.
But this is not something that happens.
The Minister of Transport.
But this is not what we see happen all the time. Maybe once in a while it does. You understand? The National Assembly should
let them use the powers that they have now. If you have the power, remember the other day, our friend from Borno South, Senator Ndume, was saying that we have this power. We have this power. Our children will ask us. You know, the powers are there. Use it. If you are not yourself compromised, then you should be able to descend heavily on heads of government agencies that you order to show up and fail to show up. Maybe those ones too are staying away because they know that they will ask them for something. You understand? Because this is where Nigeria...
I just want our institutions to be very strong. I mean, there shouldn't be big men who can just defy national assembly. Because when you defy a national assembly, you are defying Nigerians. You are defying the entire nation. The National Assembly is peopled by our representatives. So it's Nigerians that are speaking, that are inviting you. If National Assembly invites you, it's Nigeria that's inviting you.
Yes,
you can't be defying National Assembly. You can't.
All right. Moving on now. Nigeria's main opposition, the People's Democratic Party, is at a make or mar threshold, and any wrong step taken can spell doom for its survival. In its 94th meeting in Abuja, the PDP National Executive Committee, that's NEC, ratified the recommendations of Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi-led zoning committee, which zoned the position of the national chairman to the north. Meanwhile, a chieftain of the party and former vice president of the country, Atiku Abubakar, insists Nigeria doesn't need to zone the presidency. According to Atiku, zoning will not solve the country's problems. But let's share the PDP story by Femi Akonde with you.
A tough time for the PDP as they make tough decisions that will make or mar the political interests of the party ahead of the 2023 general election. Top shots of Nigeria's main opposition party and other members, many of whom have stayed away from party activities since the PDP lost power in 2015, were all in attendance. They have come to ratify the recommendations of Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi-led zoning committee, which suggests that the next national chairman of the party should come from the north. A decision that has caused mixed feelings among party members, but will notwithstanding be binding on all of them.
The People's Democratic Party has the right to determine its rules on how the party should be governed. The people of Nigeria also have the right to determine who governs them. Where the president comes from has never been the problem of Nigeria, and I can cite examples. Neither will it be the solution.
We must go into this national convention with the undiluted patriotism and spirit of sportsmanship. We must be ready as a true Democrat to make sacrifices and adjustments so as to elect credible leaders that will lead our party to victory come 2023.
At the end of the 94th NEC meeting of Nigeria's biggest opposition party, the apple cart was not disrupted, as the party stuck with the zoning arrangement it has practiced since the inception of democracy in 1999.
NEC approved the zoning as presented, which, as you understand, the positions that are in the south will go to the north, and the positions that are in the north will go to the south.
There are speculations about who gets what and how when the party begins the process of choosing candidates that will vie for elective positions in the country. But the National Zoning Committee insists its assignment is only to determine how national offices within the party are shared among members, and not who becomes the party's flag bearers at the general election. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
Welcome back. This is Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're reaching you live from TVC News here in Lagos, Nigeria. And I have Babajide Kolade, Otitoju, and Paul that are in the studio. And we are looking at the zoning issue within the People's Democratic Party. And the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar insists that Nigeria doesn't need to zone the presidency. According to Atiku, zoning would not solve the country's problem. Jide, do you agree with the former Vice President on this?
Nobody said zoning will solve all our problems, but it can solve some problems. Because if you are talking about inclusiveness, you want everyone to have the feeling that they belong, that Nigeria is a country for everyone. Then the majority shouldn't always have its way. The majority should sometimes be ready for power sharing. Because when you don't allow that to happen, then the minority will feel that they don't belong, and everyone that ought to jump in and help in nation building, they will not be as enthusiastic. Why Atiku is talking like this, I wish I understand. If the shoe was on the other foot, would he have spoken like this? We know that he has a perennial ambition to be president. He's a constant
if you remember
competitor.
If you remember this same article when he was contesting the primaries against former President Goodluck Jonathan in PDP, they were the one that were emphasizing that, look, let's stay to the agreement of zoning. I remember in
because at that time he saw that the president then had an edge. He could not defeat him in primaries. You know, so the thing is, those who designed the constitution of both parties and placed the issue of zoning firmly in the constitution of both parties, they knew what they were doing. How did Obasanjo become president? How did Goodluck Jonathan become vice president? These decisions were taken to solve some problems at that time.
To give people some.
Look at what we have. Look at what we have in Delta State, for example. The three dominant groups, the dominant ethnic groups, they all the three zones, the three senatorial zones, they all have had their shots.
Yeah.
You know?
The last one was North and Neoma people.
Yes.
Just.
Normally, the Shekiris will never produce the governor of that state because they don't have the population. But they have that agreement that, okay, it has moved from this place, let it go to this place and that, and it's working for the
Working
state.
for them, yes.
Yes. So I wonder why an article will be talking like this. No one said this problem is to solve every problem. Of course, even if you don't do zoning too, some of our problems will still remain. So
what do you make of the statement credited to the former vice president?
All I see is Atiku is thinking Atiku. Atiku is thinking about his interest. You know, ostensibly he feels that with this zoning, his chances of getting that presidential the ticket of the party as slimmer. So he's thinking Atiku. But the truth of the matter is zoning is just a recognition of our realities, of who we are. The truth of the matter is that a southwest man, a typical southwest man, thinks southwest before he thinks Nigeria. A typical southeast man thinks southeast before he thinks Nigeria.
It's a big problem.
You understand? You understand? We are in a country where we are thinking how many Christians are there, for example. Yes. How many Fulani men are there? How many Hausa?
That's the first thing.
How many of my brothers?
How many of my brothers? It is the way we think. It may not be the best, but that is the way we are. That's the way we are. So to foster that inclusiveness, to give that sense of belonging to people. So I support zoning. I am for zoning, because it's some of the unnecessary, needless crises that we create. You know, suspicion and all of that. We will take care of it through zoning.
Okay. So I have the former national vice chairman of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) for Southwest, Mr. Eddie Olafeso. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Eddie Olafeso. I'm sure we're trying to connect him. Okay, we lost connection with him. We'll try to get him. And this Governor Ifeanyi Ogun's committee, during the sitting, it was so turbulent. They went through a lot of back and forth, people's interests, elders coming to present their position, and knowing the implication of zoning the national chairmanship to the north. So the implication is far-reaching. A lot of people are saying that, look, that might terminate the ambition of some people from the northern part of the country that they want to go for the presidency.
No, but they've said to everyone that
it might be free for all.
No one will stop people from contesting, people from the north from contesting.
Sorry for that technical glitch. And we have the former national vice chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, for Southwest, Eddie Olafeso, joins us. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Eddie Olafeso. If you can hear me, the issue of zoning is like a storm in the teacup for the People's Democratic Party. And in the last 1 month, it has been a lot of back and forth, especially after the constitution of the Dr. Ifeanyi Ogun-led zoning committee.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I hear you now.
Oh, thank God. These are very perilous times, not for only PDP, but for our country. And a very serious opposition party must ensure that they take all factors into consideration before any decision is taken. Well, the Governor Ogunanyi's committee already submitted his report to the to NEC, and it's been considered that there will be a swap for those party offices in the south. We go to the north, and the one in the north will come to the south in preparation for 2023. Remember my word, these are perilous times. We have to be pragmatic to capture exactly what we can do to improve this nation, that it has been a reign of pain and terror for our people in the last few years. For me, it's a guide, and the guide must be taken seriously. And how did we arrive at this junction? It is because of inequity, fear of domination, and equity that has made it a thing of consequence in the 21st century to use geography in selecting who will be our president. While I listened to one of you that spoke before now, though I did not listen to everything because of the network situation, I do believe that it is a way of capturing the realities of this moment, and that down the line, a decade, 2 decades, depending on where Nigeria is headed, I know for sure this will not be a matter of consequence in selecting who will become our president. For many of us, including those of you seated there, what is important is getting somebody who can begin to rearrange the inequity, the pain that this country is going, not necessarily where they hail from. Be it Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, Igbo, the Ijos, all the entire citizens of this country belong to one another. But then we must be very careful as to, a situation of exclusion, which probably might not be permitted by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. To me, having listened to the Vice President and his own position, is cautioning against that, so that all of us can begin to select our leaders with our eyes wide open and our ears clearly to the ground to know exactly how best we can develop this country that is actually in the precipice of total collapse. I don't know if you're still hearing me.
Yes, but in many countries of the world where you have diversities such as ours, power sharing is not exactly new.
It's not.
Power sharing is not exactly new. Is only not another name for power sharing in the real sense of the word?
Power sharing. Yes, my brother, I told you, it is power sharing. But the truth is that we must not make it the most important factor in this. Are we going to say that because something is done to the donor, then suddenly we spring forth an incompetent president who will further divide the party, the country, and destroy everything we felt could be done better? Yes, let us be conscious that there will be power sharing. But I'm saying to me and to a lot of intellectuals watching from the side, the critical part is finding a competent person who can begin to rebuild a nation. But to tell you, you are equally aware of the fact that most nations that developed, we have a competent leader who will refocus, like in the early days of the American democracy, that we commit his total all into building a nation by ensuring that everybody is protected. Are you protected because you share power to a Hausa Fulani man, or are you protected because you share power to Yoruba person, Igbo, or the South? No. Let us look at the crucibles of a possible, political advancement, not necessarily, being defined by geography. That is my own position. And yes,
I remember the last convention of the elective convention of the People's Democratic Party. The sentiment out there was that for the first, that the southwestern part of the country had never emerged as the chairman of the People's Democratic Party since 1999, and they've been angling for it, saying that this is the best opportunity for somebody from the southwest to emerge as the chairman of that party. And a lot of guys in the southwest, they spoke for it. They wanted to pick up the gauntlet. So what now happened?
Absolutely. What happened was not a situation of Nigerians saying that, the southwest cannot be the chairman of the party at that time. Recollect that I was the national vice chairman of the party, who is the eye of the storm in terms of selling our candidate to the rest of Nigeria. What happened was that there was proliferation of candidates a situation of unpreparedness on our part to ensure that we pick a single best amongst us to represent us there. And the consequence was the fact that on arrival at Eagle Square, we have more people from the Southwest jostling to take that position that was eventually taken away from them. So I'm cautioning, and that's my private personal issue, that competence must come first before we begin to talk about geography. And that we must align both of them in such a way that it takes into consideration the reality of the journey of the nation as we are today. There's so much pain out there. There's so much terror. They have benumbed our consciousness. The next leadership must be able to be a balm on this wound that has been inflicted on Nigeria. Well, while we welcome, like Jide said, that Nigeria is not the only place where we do power sharing or zoning. But the truth is that we must not allow it to mar the critical point of selecting a leader. It is not geography. And really, you may not wish to
Paul has a question for you.
Crucify the...
Yes. Dr. Olafesa, I want to ask this question. How would your party go about persuading people who are disgruntled by this arrangement? I ask this question because you remember that recently a lot of key figures have defected from your party, and there is no guarantee that people, there won't be certain personalities in your party who would also, there's no guarantee that they will not take the same route. So you need as many people to remain in your party. So what would you do? Are you going to make efforts to make sure that you persuade those who will be disenchanted with this particular situation?
Then, as the convention looms, what are your expectations?
First of all, let me pick on Paul first. I understand some people left, but if you ask questions and you're visceral in your probing why they left, it is personal. It is not because they care about Nigeria or the people of the Nigerian people who are equally suffering the difficulties of this moment. I do know, but by the time we go into the convention and we're able to pick the best of the candidates from the North, the best person to represent the party, the national chairman has a big role to play. His body language, his personality, his understanding and vision can turn the party around. One thing that all of us are failing to realize is that it is because of the inefficiency of party politics there that we give birth to inefficient governance. And that has actually been our lot within this last 20-something years. I do know that by the time we get to the convention, and many of us are looking out very, very seriously on those people coming. I asked the question with one of our former senators. I had a chat with one of our former senators who is of the opinion that whoever is coming to become the national chairman of this party or presidential candidate must be put to the litmus test, must be queried, questioned about their past, their present, and their future, their vision for this country. We must ask that question. It is not that, window dressing or because you're from the North, you have to be this. So we are sure that with the coming of a new national chairman of a party who I think will have all these factors were put in place: vision, competence, experience, history, ability to unite and unify Nigerians. We might be heading somewhere, and we can be able to placate all the other people that, no, it's not about self. If it's not about self, then we should be able to sacrifice. You see, my brothers, I sacrificed in Osho. I was beaten with 13 votes. I just figured it's not necessary. 8 of my votes were cancelled. I just figured I cannot take my party to court. Let it be. It's not about self, it's about all of us. And then we must recognize that in the future, Nigerians must begin to present selfless leaders who can think beyond self. And that's exactly where we are today.
Dr. Eddie Olafeso, that's the former national vice chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP Southwest, and also one-time commissioner for information in the last Agagu administration in Ondo State. Thank you for your contribution.
That's why it speaks so
well. My regards to Jide and everybody. God bless. And have a nice Sunday.
Bye, sir. Thank you for your time, sir.
All right, thank you. So we wait till the end of this month, and you know, the PDP, the All Progressive Congress, they are just taking their time. They've said, okay, their own state convention will now be on the 16th of October. After the state convention, they will now release the dates for their national convention. It will be more than this December, but they just want this one to play out first.
Yes,
everybody is just like they're watching.
They've always watched one another. Those two parties.
They
are like Tom and Jerry.
We are watching.
All right. Moving on now, Josephine Ugu is a name that has become synonymous with integrity, truth, and honesty in Nigeria. The super honest woman is famed for finding and returning missing money to their owners at the airports. The total money she has found and returned is about 3 billion naira. Let's underline that. 3 billion naira. For this effort, Josephine Ugu now wants more recognition from the government. Let's share her story with you, as filed by TVC News Nelson Etta.
Josephine Ugu is a name that has become a symbol of integrity, truth, and honesty, not just in Nigeria, but globally. She is a contract cleaning staff at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, who is famed for returning missing money to their owners. For instance, she once found and returned $7 million, $8 million in 2014, and $12 million in 2015, all left by passengers at the airport. The total is about 3 billion naira. To get a better understanding of the events that had shaped the life and personality of Mrs. Ugu, I set off on a 2-day visit to her. On the first day, I went to speak with her pastor, Victor Okechukwu Aga, who has not only been a help and support to her, but also prophesied about her national recognition. He told me how they met and when the prophecy came.
It was on a Sunday service, second Sunday of December 2014. So that faithful Sunday I was ministering here under unction. Then God spoke, ministered to me. So the message came, about 3 good times. I told her that God is good. You are going to be remembered. I see God about to announce you, not only in Lagos, all over the Nigeria, all over the nation, all over the whole world.
On day 2, I went to her home in Ayobo, Ekpaja Local Council Development Area, a calm and peaceful estate in Lagos, Nigeria's commercial hub. I was received by her husband, and other neighbors.
It's the first time we're meeting the husband. This is your husband, I suppose?
Yes, he's my husband.
Then we settled down for business. She took me through the journey of her story of serial finding and returning of huge sums of money, both in naira and dollars, from 2010, when she was a worker at the Enugu airport.
It started the year 2014. In short, he started in Enugu airport the year 2006 when I was working in an airline.
So the ones in Lagos wasn't actually your first?
No. The first one
in Enugu too, was it
the
dollars or naira notes?
It's naira notes. It's a big guest Ghana must go. The person is traveling, so he forgot to close their boots. You see? So as I forget my walking talkie, because I'm security in airline, so I go back because our office is in Tamak, in Kapak. So I'm going there. I see that boot is open. I pick my walking talkie, look, that is Ghana must go, and the zip has teared. I see if I leave this thing, this out, they will come and pick it up because there's nobody.
How much was the second one in Lagos?
70 million. 7 million.
7 million?
Yes.
Again, this was in dollars?
Equivalent to dollars.
Yes, yes. Yeah. That one also, you were cleaning the airport?
Yes, I'm a cleaner. And that time my salary is 7,800.
When you say that time, does it mean your salary has changed now?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Immediately this thing happened, Federal Airport Authority picked me up, employed me I'm a federal government staff now, Federal Port Authority.
So before now, you were not a staff of the government?
No, I'm a contract staff. I'm working as a cleaner.
She made a strong statement about lost and found monies at the airport, especially within the screening section.
Others is seeing it, but they are not bringing it out.
Mrs. Ugu recounts some of the awards she has received from government, as well as support from individuals. But for her, these are not just enough.
House of Assembly Enugu give me award. Even though the day I went award, no transport money for me. That day become talk of war. Speaker there said they will name my name in local government. They say no, house. They now vote. I win. They said they will not be. Now they will name my name in Enugu. Lagos State House of Assembly gives me award. But from then they said that they will name my name after street. They will give me a house there. So but since then, they never called me. So he said Abode must give me award. Abode, he didn't do it. This one, I never heard for them for since then.
Her husband, Chibuzo Ogu, a businessman, expressed gratitude to God for his wife's newfound fame.
For the first time that I see him from newspaper, I was shocked. Even my friends that I saw, that kind of thing. Even with time I went to Abuja, I was surprised because he told me that he's going to award. We don't know that it's going to happen like that. So whatever happened over there, when I come back here, my wife in Abuja with Buhari, I was surprised.
We took a walk outside her house, where I spoke with two of her neighbors.
I think she's a plain person, because if not, so many people would have gotten such an opportunity and fled away. Some will fly out of the country immediately. They will work their way through. But she having the mind to return the money, that means she has the fear of God.
This Nigeria is not easy. For if it's me, I'll be thinking maybe I should return it or I should not return it, because there is a lot of things. So I'll be thinking. So do you understand what I'm saying?
I don't understand.
You're supposed to understand.
She also talked about the house she is living.
This thing, let me tell you the truth, because as far as they have mentioned, they mention ICPC, but individual follow. That is Temi Odusayo. He's from Izoba of Ife, daughter.
At the end of the day, this is what Josephine Ogu wants.
My own is different, because nobody in Nigeria did what I did in Nigeria. Since I was born, I never hear that somebody returns such huge amount. It's only me. So they will do something for me. So that youth will know that honest pays. What are they telling youth? That honest pays. Let them do something that people will know. People outside the country that yes, honest pays.
TVC News is the first and only media organization to visit her in her home since her story first made headlines in 2015. Nelson Etta, TVC News, Lagos.
Growing up back then, Reverend Samuel Akimbode Sadele would tell me honesty is the best policy. And this is a man that used to preach honesty and want the children to be very honest. It's a different environment right now. This woman will be a subject of mockery in our environment right now. Because when you look at the quantum of money.
She said it that they've been abusing her where she works, that you are a fool. You are now coming to wait for 5 naira or 500 naira tips from travelers.
This is a woman
when
that her take home is 7,000.
7,800.
She's a contract staff. Nobody has deemed it fit to even employ her.
Yes.
Because I've worked in that fan before. What's the airports? Now, you have fan security, you have the cleaners. Yes. So most of these cleaners, they are hard dock staff. They are contract people that were brought in. But at least the least they can do for this woman, not once, not thrice, is to absorb her into the system.
Yes. Yes, and show that
permanent staff,
we are a
job
country
security
that rewards honesty.
Yes,
this kind of, you see, we make mistakes. Our leaders make mistakes a lot. The moment this woman was found,
honestly,
we should have used her as a veritable example for other people. We should have rewarded her in a way that everyone will see that it pays to be honest. Because look, someone else with access to this kind of foreign currency, will travel out of this country.
No, look at our family.
Yes,
everybody
with the husband.
I should be lounging there because.
But she fears God. She's religious, and she holds on to the teachings of her faith. That's why, in spite of the fact that she's not comfortable, she does not want to touch what does not belong to her.
We still have Nigerians like that.
Yes, I keep saying it. Look, it's not every Nigerian that has a price. Some people think they can bribe anybody. They see, oh, he's abusing government because they've not given him appointments.
Yes, that's
some of the rubbish that they say.
What they say.
Because they didn't give him, they snubbed him, they didn't give him appointment.
How many have you turned down?
They told you that he was looking for appointment.
How many have you turned down?
So now you have a situation in which someone is dishonest. I wish I was in a position of authority. I would take this woman off what she's doing now.
Contract staff.
Look at Governor Zulum. Zulum got to a school and found that as early as before 7
yes, that woman.
Before 7 a.m. She was already there. That woman had worked in that school for more than 35 years.
From the east.
What did Zulum do? Zulum immediately rewarded her by promoting her. She's a primary school teacher. Promoted her to deputy head teacher. That is how people will learn that when you are industrious, you take your job seriously, that there is reward for it. There ought to be reward for honesty. In our country, we abuse honest people. We call them names. The way this woman has been treated will not encourage other people to come up with money.
Salary of 7,000 naira. If we break down this foreign exchange that you have seen, not once, not twice, not this is like the third time.
Yes, no, fourth time. Fourth time. God so gave her the anointing to locate missing money. Because some people, when they are in a hurry, look at her receiving awards from the president.
What came after this award?
Nothing.
She said she didn't have the transport fare to go back after.
No, that's
House of Assembly.
Governor Ugwan is a very decent and one of the quietest governors around. No controversy, nothing. This is a person from his state.
Yes, should do something.
I'm telling Governor Ugwan now that you have to do something for this woman. You have to even honor her. That's the least that can happen. So that those mocking her in her place of work, that you are a fool. God gave
that
you
opportunity
a breakthrough.
comes but once. It
God
will never come your way again.
And you refuse to use that breakthrough. You know, so that those ones won't see that it pays.
Okay, I have Ololade. Ololade is calling us from Kwara State.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ololade.
I'm Akala Ololade from Ilori, Kwara State.
Okay.
I want to speak on the woman that you just show us on the TV. I'm very happy that we still have Nigerians that they are the honest Nigeria who can refund money. But I will also employ the government, particularly the Soul State. They should use that as a pride to other states in Nigeria by honoring her, by giving her a house.
Yes.
Because it's a very
not just that
when you want to do that such a thing. Some people will say that how can you refund such a money? That is going to be an opportunity for them because there is a decay in our society now.
You are right, sir.
And we need to encourage the younger ones. And when we are talking about attitudinal change, it's one of those things that people can see.
Yes. National Orientation Agency should take her along.
I'm a supporter of that. I also appreciate you people for going there, being the first media house to go to her. So well done for that job.
Thank you. Now $200,000. It has been confirmed.
$200,000.
One of the money she found. calculate $200,000.
Convert it.
Maybe that dollar 560 or 570. Just calculate. Do the calculation.
It was 577 yesterday.
Okay, so just do that calculation.
Let's do that calculation.
This woman would have been liberated for life.
Even the dollar, and that was not the first time she found dollars.
That's 1 out of 4.
That was not the first time she found dollars. $200,000. Imagine laying your hands on
that kind of money now. For a woman that is going home with 7,200 or 800.
7,800.
How can you even survive Nigeria with 7,800? This present Nigeria.
We must learn.
A bag of rice, how much is it?
We must learn to reward heroes. Otherwise, we will no longer have heroes in our country. We must treat heroes right. We must treat them right. Otherwise, nobody will want to be a hero in our country anymore. It's so shameful that this woman could still be where she is. I wish I was in a position I would have changed her life totally. I wish that God blessed me.
Integrity.
So our governor, I will have changed that woman's life forever.
Yes.
So the labor of our heroes shall never be
talking about. Exactly. See, what we are saying by our action or by inaction is that honesty doesn't pay. But we know that honesty pays. It is not too much, even if institutions are named after this, an institution is named after this woman.
And streets.
To immortalize her. Look at that, she's still there suffering, still living in...
I said they are mocking her that look at your life. You see your life, you see your life. You will come in here to cheer, to wait for 500 from travelers with the rest of us. That's how they are mocking her in her place of work. And why is the mocking still on? Because government has not deemed it fit to recognize her properly and reward her for extraordinary honesty. We call it extraordinary honesty because this is rare.
This is rare in Nigeria.
No one 4 times on the bounce found hefty sums of money, hefty sums, beginning from her time in Enugu State. Hefty sums of money 4 times at the airport.
It's shameful, really, because in this country, the people we reward are people with moral baggages, with political positions. You know,
we give them national awards.
National awards.
This woman deserves to be among those to bag national award the next time.
Exactly.
We are going to
be giving monetary compensation.
But you have the worst of us ruling the best of us.
All right.
Very bad.
We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk sports. Please don't go away. It's still Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Welcome back. Now sport. Musbah Razak is joining us. Musbah, nice to have you in the studio again.
Good afternoon for us.
Oh, whenever the Super Eagles falter, Nigerians get angry. A demonstration of how passionate they are about football. On Thursday, the team suffered a humiliating home defeat in a World Cup qualifier in the hands of the lowly Central African Republic, who grabbed a last-minute winner right here in Lagos. Though Nigeria still leads the group on 6 points, soccer fans are outraged by the upsets. Meanwhile, another former Green Eagles player went home when ex-international Sonny Oyarikwa died on Monday, the 4th of October. Oyarikwa was a prominent member of the Green Eagles from 1971 to 1975 and the top goal scorer at the 1973 All-African Games, where the team won the gold medal for the football event. But let's set the ball rolling with the shocking defeat of the Central African Republic here in Lagos, because the person that even scored the final goal is said to be playing in French Division 4.
Come now. I think that was a sort they wanted to listen to.
Okay, let's.
Nigeria came into this game on the strength of the maximum 6 points from 2 wins in 2 games. The Super Eagles offered little going forward in the first half. Victor Osimhen took Nigeria's first shot off target in the 27th minute. After a fruitless first 45 minutes, the first half ended. Nigeria no goal, Central African Republic no goal. Taiwo Awoni came on at the start of the second half, replacing Kelechi Iheanacho for his first appearance for the Super Eagles. With rejuvenated play all through the second half, the Super Eagles could not break the defense of the Central African Republic. Then in the 90th minute, Karl Namganda broke Nigerian hearts. It is the first time the Super Eagles will lose in the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifier. After the unthinkable loss to lowly Central African Republic, the coach of the Super Eagles has refused to hold media briefing. The journalists here at the media center have left one after the other after the coach failed to show up for the post-match conference. But some media men cornered the Eagles coach in the tunnel and forced an interview with him.
The players are very disappointed in the dressing room, still not understanding why we could lose this match. We will analyze it, we dominated, we had the possession of the ball, we had the opportunities to score, we did not. And then very often in football, there is a counter and the opponent scores the goal. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, we lost.
And maybe, sometimes in football when you don't take seriously the game because you think at the beginning you are already won, after it's tough. I think it was like this.
They go again on Sunday against the CAR in Douala, hoping to redeem themselves.
I believe we are able to win the match. It's not in Central Africa, we'll be in Cameroon on a very good pitch. We have to recover, perhaps to do some changes in the team. We missed the creativity of Alex Iwobi. We missed him so much. And Didi. So the midfield has been built for the first time.
Tomorrow we go down, myself too. And now we will see, because we have some players maybe very tired or injured, we don't know. We have one who was sent off because of problems in the muscles. We'll see. Football is a story, and that's the problem for the coaches. We are not enjoying a lot, because immediately when the referee says finish, your mind change immediately for the next one.
But then the Eagles still lead the Group C qualifiers with 6 points. This is a disappointing performance by the Super Eagles, even by their own standards. It's unthinkable that a team as lowly as the Central African Republic, who before now have secured only 1 point in 2 games, could defeat the Super Eagles at home in Lagos. Solomon Ajiziogo, TVC News, Lagos.
So, the report still coming from Douala now that the Super Eagles, they are two goes up. So that's cheering. But let's do a review of what happened at the Teslim Balogun Stadium.
Well, I would say a little bit of complacency went into the Super Eagles game. And, I think they underrated the Central African Republic players, and at the end of the day, we lost the match. And like the coach said, it happens. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. And you dominated the match and you fell to a counter-attack. So, but I was really disappointed in the Super Eagles. That's what I would say. I was really disappointed. I thought we will consolidate and win the match. It is not that, it's not about only topping the group. It's about topping the group well, because this thing is used to rate Nigerian by FIFA. Nice. And the next round of qualifier is on a basis between 10 countries. So the first 5 countries will be rated, and they will be paired with the lesser country who qualify. So this defeat has dented the rating of the Super Eagles. Don't forget that Central African Republic is ranked about 100 more than 100 below the Super Eagles is just 34th position on FIFA ranking. So this is a very painful defeat.
See how he outran the two of them.
You look at the caliber of player they brought, they paraded, and look at the players that we paraded.
There's no reason in the world for the Eagles to lose this kind of match. I think this crop of Super Eagles players disappoint the country when they are needed the most, when the country expects them. Of this world, the Cameroons of this, they don't have the players that we have.
Honestly.
Who are the extraordinary players? Who are the fantastic players in the Algerian team? Apart from Mahrez. Well, look at the players we have. Yet, these countries will be beating us. You don't see, you watch the Eagles, you don't see evidence of coaching. No cohesion, no discernible pattern. I mean, I don't know what really the problem is with Genara. Imagine Roa telling us that we missed this Everton player Alex Iwobi. We missed his playmaking skills. When did Nigeria begin to depend on a player that even finds it difficult to break into the zone? The first team of Everton
of his club.
I mean, it just shows that, look, the Eagles clearly need a better coach who can harness the potential that we have, because the best team is not usually the best assemblage of players, but the best set of players who complement one another effectively to deliver the goods. That's the thing. You need a coach to harness this reach. We may not be this lucky in the next few years, because we have right now a very good crop in every position. We have capable players, but I don't see the evidence of coaching. I don't see, and even in some of the positions there are good, effective substitutes. Look at this, even this Taiwo that was introduced.
Taiwo Uni.
You know, that's another capable scorer.
People seem to be tired of the listing of Genara. That it's like an average coach. There's nothing outstanding about him, and since he got there, he has not brought anything
silverware
to the table.
Yes, I will agree with those who are saying that, because when you compare the results on ground with the caliber of player we have, like Gide said, I don't think we have got the maximum result from him. We have today, I can say that Nigeria has some of the best assemblage of players in Africa. And they are still counting. We have players all over the best leagues in Europe. Every year, Wilfred Ndidi will be one of the best tacklers in the best 5 leagues in Europe. We have an Osimhen coming up, a Paulo Noashu, and a Shidera Deaka, a Franco Yeka at the Premiership. So it's only need a good coach to harness all these players. To harness the skills of this player. As it is now, General has no enduring first 11. You see some playing today, some playing next tomorrow, and if you don't have a capable and a good team that can work for each other, I think we may not qualify.
Look, let's talk about this.
It's a group that I was expecting that we win all the games.
Yes.
Now, when we start playing against the stronger teams, what are we going to do? Central African Republic is not known to have achieved anything in football in this continent.
Yes.
So, I don't think so. There are countries that can beat us that will not particularly shock me. Madagascar, for example. If they beat us, I will not be shocked, because from the 80s, from the 80s, no, they even have a richer football history than Cape Verde, because from the 80s, even their clubs used to be very strong.
Sotema,
you know, Sotema FC of Malagasy, very strong. They came to Lagos here to beat. Can come beat us, I won't see it as a shock. But Central African Republic, haba. And This is a country that used to be number 5 in the world. Nigeria. Yes. See how we've been going down.
Ahead of 1994 World Cup.
Yes. See how we've been going down now.
Musba, let's talk about this ex-international star footballer. That's Sonny Oyarekwa.
Sonny actually played for Nigeria between 1971 and 1976. Don't forget he was a member of the Super Eagles, the Green Eagles team, to the 1976 Africa Cup of Nations, which won the bronze medal. He was, as at the time he retired, the top goal scorer for Nigeria, scoring 17 goals in 28 matches, which was of a high standard. A very good footballer and somebody who has eyes for goals. He played for the police machine team. He was a policeman, so naturally he played for the police machine team, which used to be a top football team then. And he was the top goal scorer for Nigeria, the second All Africa goals when we won the gold medal, and was part of the team that went to Ethiopia in 1976. So Sonny, unfortunately, was neglected by Nigerian because I don't expect him. He rose to the position of Assistant Commissioner of Police before he retired. So I was surprised when I read in the news that he was bedridden and no help came until he died on Monday. It was so shocking. Very talented footballer. He passed on the baton to Thompson Osien, who is he
also died recently.
Also died a few weeks before the death of Sonny. So we are losing. The way we are treating our past heroes is making. Maybe that was the reason the players nowadays don't joke with their allowances.
They don't want to sacrifice. You know,
he was said to be a member of the Green Eagles from 1971 to 1975.
Yes, I watched the opening match at that national stadium, at the national stadium here. You know, the stadium was built to host the All African Games, and Yakubu Mambo scored the first goal at that stadium. So I watched him because he had the telepathic understanding with Yakubu Mambo and Haruna Ilerika. You know, as I always say, because of our inability to keep records, if you see some of these players, if you see them in action, you know that some of the people that we are talking about today are not footballers.
Yes.
God is my witness. I'm not belittling people. If you see them, the natural skills that God gave them and the way they play. Thompson Osien, even Odegbami, because newspapers used to describe Thompson Osien as the best Nigerian striker of the modern era. Odegbami described him in. I was reading one of the WhatsApp groups that Sheikh Odegbami belongs to, and he said he had never seen a striker like Thompson Osien, that he could shoot with either foot. Unfortunately, he did not play. He did not stay long in Nigeria before going abroad.
He only spent 2 years in the national team.
He came back for the 1980.
He came back for the 1978 All African Games in Algiers.
Yes. It was Odie that came back for the Nations Cup of 1980. I was even thinking that it would be part of that team. Unfortunately, we lost him. He had been abroad all this while, and you lost him. No effort made to immortalize him. He just treated his death like. See the way the Britons treat their players when they die. The whole of the league that week, everybody must wear black armband, and before every game they will do their 1 minute silence in his honor. In our own case, these players die, nobody talks about them, nobody tries to honor them. I mean, it's so unfair.
In terms of welfare and everything, I think we should be looking at that area, so that if it's not because of these new generations of Eagles that played abroad are coming, they are sport pundits for TV stations now and doing one or two things, their fate would have been the same thing, but we still have some of them that are languishing.
Yes. It's so painful that the Nigerian football administrators just decide to neglect the past heroes. Somebody like Kunle Awusi died in US. Nigerian, you don't even know about it until 3 or 4 years later. Yes.
3 or 4 years later.
Yes. And this is somebody who played for Nigeria at the Nations Cup in 1976 and was named the best left winger in that competition. Look at Kunle Awusu. Look at Tomsi Usiye. Look at Sonny Oyarekwa. Sunday died the Minister of Sports. Fregene. Look at Joe Eriko. All these people, they are Nigerian heroes and they died like that. Look at people like Oganjimo, Sam Ojebode, Dele Jonathan. These are very good sportsmen.
For their country.
They won honor for Nigeria, but they died in penury. Davis Rande is now destitute in Benin. The first Nigerian to win a world amateur boxing championship. Lightweight champion. He is now working, living in penury in Benin. So we don't have any program to revive or to take care of our sporting heroes. Sunday Dare tried a little bit, and I think now he has even relaxed because in recent time I've not heard of any program he has done about that. I thought he should have done something. He started well. I thought he should have done something about this Sonny Oyarekwa case because it was well documented.
Thank you for your insights, and thank you, BK. We have to go. It will just start like 1 hour, 2 hours before you know it. It's 2 hours. Well, thank you for joining us. And that's our package today. Join us tomorrow for our regular episode of Journalist Hangout at 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcasts of this episode tonight at 11:30. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubakum. Bye for now. See you tomorrow by 5 p.m.